to the Planning Committee meeting of Tuesday, December the 1st, and I'm going to call to order a closed Planning Committee meeting, and we'll recess till after the open. So for the open agenda, the first item is the minutes are here for adoption of the Planning Committee held on April the 7th. So moved and seconded. Were there any errors or omissions? See none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Thank you. The next committee meeting date will be, is tentatively set for January the 6th, 2021, 4 p.m. in the council chambers. Item number 1, proposed updates to Access and Inclusion Policy 4012 and rescindment of City Buildings Accessibility Policy 2012. And before we start, I'm sorry, I should have asked, were there any additions to the agenda? Want to make sure? Okay, getting back to item 1. Is it Ms. Somerville?
Staff have nothing further to add to the report. We're here to answer any questions.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Councillor Day.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I was wondering if it might be a good idea to advocate to sending this to senior levels of government for funding and programs. And I was also wondered if that could be something we could just add as a friendly or maybe ask staff if there's some reason that's not on there.
So let's ask staff about that. Sending a letter to other levels of government in regards to funding.
Through the chair to Councillor Day, within the policy updates, we do have a line item around advocating to senior levels. Staff can definitely explore sending a letter to other levels of government for funding to support.
Okay, good. Thank you. That was all I had.
Any other questions from committee? Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, just a quick question to staff. Looking at our pages, I guess it'll be 13, 14. Primarily, it's a matter of semantics and just updating wording. And also embellishing what we are already doing and where we're ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, yes, absolutely. It's strengthening the current policy that's in place, but it also has additional items around community engagement, advocacy, training, things that we're already doing, but putting the framework in place to support furthering those actions.
So basically what we've done is we put them in writing. So good job. Thank you very much. It's an excellent policy, and I think we should probably share it with many people that don't have it in the various communities. I think it's worthwhile. I think a copy of this should possibly go to our MLAs and our MPs to know the kinds of things that we're doing with accessibility within the community. And also, I gather it'll be posted on the website so the public can continue to give us input on, especially RCD and other groups that deal in this area. So good job all around. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from committee or comments? All right, seeing none, there is a motion in the package.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
It is carried. Thank you very much. Item number 2, application by Flat Architecture, Inc. for rezoning at 8951 and 8971 Spires Road, 8991 Spires Gate, and the surplus portion of the Spires Road allowance from the single detached RS1E zone to the parking structure townhouses RTP4 zone. Mr. Craig and Mr. Lee.
Hi to the chair. The subject site is located in the Spires Road neighborhood and is designated for high-density townhouse development. The site includes 3 existing single-family lots and a portion of Spires Road that has been identified as road surplus. The applicant is proposing to purchase the surplus road area and include it into the development. A separate report related to the road closure and removal of road dedication will be presented to the committee by Real Estate Services. The purpose of this rezoning application is to allow 22 townhouse units to be developed. The proposal includes 2 garden suites, 20 townhouse units, and 2 secondary suites. The garden suite will be designed in accordance to the basic universal housing criteria. Land delegation is required along the west property line to accommodate a future back lane. A surfacing agreement will be required to design and construct frontage improvements along the frontage, as well as storm sewer and sanitary sewer upgrades. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, it's my understanding the applicant is also here, and is available for questions. So I'll open it up to committee. Are there any questions for staff? Councillor Day.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. So I'm a little concerned about this one. It seems like a lot of density in a very small area. According to page PLN 28, there are 27 parking spots for these 22 units, and 10 of those are tandem parking spots. And then on top of that, we're narrowing the road. So what's going to happen with visitors, and will people even be able to park on the road, which is going down to 16 meters?
Through the chair, while the road right-of-way is going to be narrowed to 16 meters, we're actually widening the pavement, and it will include one parking lane on Spires Road. And regarding the parking spaces providing on site, they meet the zoning requirement, and each unit will have at least one parking space.
Well, it's not very good. I'm just concerned about it. I wonder if, right now there's like 22 units. If we were to reduce the units slightly, would that allow for more parking so that there, it could be ample? Because tandem parking is a nightmare at the best of times. And when you've got it in such a small, confined area with limited access, I think it was from Spires Road, I see that being a problem for the future. So if we had less units, could we have more parking? Because I noticed some of the units are kind of on the ground.
Through the chair, based on the configuration of the site, it will be very challenging to increase the number of parking space by reducing the size of the unit on the ground floor. The unit is basically just surrounding the parquet.
Okay.
And
Councillor,
that's through the chair to Councillor Day. If I may add, this proposal does conform with the city zoning bylaw in terms of the amount of parking provided. In terms of the information provided by Mr. Lee, a reduction in the units would increase the number of stalls that could be allocated per unit, but the overall amount of parking will not increase.
thank you. Councillor Liu.
Thank you, through the chair. So, question to staff: isn't part of the reason that the parking is the way it is, and that there seems to be quite a few bike spaces in this one, is because it's really close to the Canada line? It's pretty much walkable to all the grocery stores, schools. Like, it's quite walkable, this neighborhood, isn't it?
Through the chair to Councillor Yu, yes, the parking requirements for this area of the city are reduced based on proximity to the Canada line.
Okay. And in this case, they're doing a contribution to the affordable housing because it's a small complex, right?
Through the chair to Councillor Yu, that is correct.
Okay. And I will put in the point that I really like the at-grade garden units. I think that really makes it more accessible to different people in the community. I know lots of people aren't it's not easy for them to use stairs, and I think creating different ways for people to live, especially within the city center, I really like this, so thank you.
Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Not a question of staff, but a comment or two. I think my questions have been answered. Maybe, is this not, and maybe I will ask a question of staff, 8880, the adjacent one, and then two across the street, these are anchor, if you wish, or the entrance to Spires development, and obviously this fits our needs for what we're looking in that whole area in terms of what we've rezoned it for families, pedestrian traffic primarily, with all the amenities across the street and 3 blocks away, etc. It's not why we these kinds of developments, and I hope there are more like it within that complex. Is this not what we've wanted to do?
Through the chair to Councilor McNulty, the proposal before you does comply with the city center area plan designation for the site. It is also consistent with the development which council has approved and is currently under construction immediately south of the subject development site.
Yes, thank you. I was just going to bring that up. There's another development going on at the same time, and this one would be going on at the same time, which is fine, but it does fit in with everything we're trying to do in that whole quarter section, so I'll be supporting it.
Councillor Wolf.
Through the chair to staff, just one question to staff. Can you please clarify what is the referral that was made a few weeks ago related to the Spires area of the city center area plan? So what is it that staff are going to be coming back on for this whole area?
Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, there were a number of aspects within that council referral. The primary nature of the referral was to review the pedestrian connections through the neighborhood, the park land use designations within the neighborhood, and the development permit guidelines for this area. There was also reference to potential review of the permitted densities in the area. At that time, there was discussion at that meeting as to existing developments being processed in accordance with the existing OCP, which is what this is being.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Are there any other questions from committee? I did have a question to staff. Now, I have an acquaintance who lives in the area, and I was driving through there a couple of days ago. And as was mentioned, there is a project to the south of this location. And if you follow Spires around where Cook Gate is closed, I believe that's Cook Gate. So there is construction in the area. And I noticed there's quite a few people walking there because it is so close to transit. So my concern is about the traffic management plan, because now there'll be, how far along is the other project? Will there be construction, 2 projects at the same time? I'm just thinking about, people who live there and people who need to walk and drive. It was pretty difficult for me to drive kind of around the area. So just concerned about that.
Yes, through the chair, there's a number of construction projects ongoing in this neighborhood. There is the private development project, which is under construction immediately to the south. There is also some city capital works that are going on along Cook Road. In terms of the city capital projects, it's our understanding that those works should complete early in the new year, January, February. If there's further information required, I see Eric Sparlin is on this call and can provide further information on that capital project. With respect to private developments, they are required to provide a construction, parking, and management plan prior to building permit issuance. Those plans do need to be approved by the city's transportation department. Where there is multiple developments in geographic area, those plans are coordinated amongst each other.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions from committee?
Move the recommendation.
So the recommendation has been moved. Is there a seconder?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Thank you. Any other discussion? Councillor Day?
I just want to say, I'm not sure about this one, but I think we should send it to public hearing and see where we end up. And I'm interested to see what the public have to say about this one. Thank you.
All right, seeing no further comments, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? It is carried. Thank you. The next item, number 3, application by Westmark Developments Camelson Limited for rezoning at 9300 and 9320 Canby Road from the single detached RS1F zone to the low-rise apartments ZLR43 zone. Mr. Craig and Mr. Lee.
To the chair, the subject site is located within the Alexandra neighborhood of the West Canby area and is designated for medium-density housing, which permits street-oriented townhouses and apartments. This development will facilitate the extension of McKean Way, which would bisect the site into 2 portions. The northern portion of the site is proposed to be developed into a 5-story residential building containing approximately 128 units. The southern portion would be developed into a private outdoor space. Access to the parquet and loading area would be provided from McKean Way at the southwest corner of the northern portion. No vehicle access will be allowed on Canby Road. The project is required to connect to the city district energy utilities and designed to meet the energy STEPCO requirement. This development would also facilitate the extension of an existing greenway developed as part of the adjacent low-rise apartment development to the south and allow it to extend all the way up to McKean Way. A servicing agreement will be required to design and construct new fire hydrants, water main, storm sewer upgrades, frontage improvement along Canby Road, full road construction of McKean Way and the Greenway extension. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Councillor Steves.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me today?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, good. It took us a long process. It took me all day. Anyway, I've got a question on 76. I'm really pleased.
No, you're fading out there, Harold, and I can see there must be something, there's like an icon on your name. You must be having some computer issues.
No, we don't hear him now.
We've lost Councillor Steves.
Get him back.
Hang on, just hang on. We'll see what we can do here.
You just went along Canby Road, and I'm asking staff, can we design this so that we can make it a requirement that when there's redevelopment along Canby on the other side of the street, and the same place anywhere else in Richmond where there's single family that may be redeveloped in the future, can be required to connect to the district energy if it goes to townhouses and condos, not necessarily apartments.
So Harold, we lost the first part of your conversation, so can you say that again? Councillor Steves? Oh dear. Can we get him on the phone or something? Yeah, you can phone in. See, you can see he's having trouble. That icon there means he's... Harold, we're going to have to get you to phone in. We can't hear you. You keep breaking. We haven't been able to hear much of anything.
I emailed him the phone number.
You all disappeared for a minute.
Yeah, we can't see you, and you've just been emailed information on how to call in.
Okay. I just got my computer repaired, so I don't know what's going on.
New one coming.
I think you need a new one. Can you hear me, Councillor Steves? Okay, well, we'll just give it a minute here. Are we able to call him? No, I guess not. Okay, I see Councillor Steves.
Yep.
Hi. So let's try it again. Can you, you can see the... I'm sorry, we can't hear you. We can't hear you, and we can see the wheel on your picture. I think there's... Can you try with your phone, Councillor Steves? Yeah, he's gone again.
On the computer.
Well, maybe he's trying to call in. Well, let's go to, I see Councillor Wolf has a question. Let's go to Councillor Wolf, and then hopefully in the next little while we'll get Councillor Steves back up. Councillor Wolf.
through the chair to staff, just two quick questions on this one. The first one is about the house that's built on the property. I watched the whole process of it being built and was quite surprised at the time that it was approved for building, because you could see if there was apartments coming up along there. And I don't recall any time seeing any actual vehicle in the driveway and all the time. Was it built in a way that it is low, or like is it just a shell of a building that it can be moved? Or just because to think that it was built to just sit there and now be demolished, just quite surprising. But so does staff know if there was anything about the approval of it that had it as like temporary structure or without insulation and that type of thing? And then the second question is, does that property where it sits, the house, is that meeting the existing floodplain designation height?
Thanks. Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, unfortunately, I can't answer either of your questions with the information I have at hand. I would have to go back and look through the building permit records to see whether it was a completed house or not, and what the constructed floodplain elevation was at time of construction.
We do have the applicant here, and he's just raised his hand, and I'll invite him down in a minute. Is there anything else you want to add, Mr. Craig? No? Okay, we'll invite the applicant down. I see Councillor Steves has come in and out, so work in progress. Good afternoon. And if you could just give your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ralph Baines. I'm the proponent of this application. My residential address is 6728 Riverdale Drive, Richmond. Through the chair to Councillor Wolf, that house over there was actually fire damaged. You may recall a number of years back, the building to the immediate east, which is known as Remy, that went through a fire situation, and this house was damaged as a result of that fire. The ownership, at the time, the owner took an insurance claim and rebuilt the house, and he lived in that house for a number of years before he sold it to us. So the house was actually built on a new foundation, and I do believe that it does meet the floodplain requirements. That is not a shell. It's a complete structure. It's a livable structure. It is part of this proposal, and there are plans for us to demolish that home as a result of this new development.
Follow up, Councillor Wolf?
No, I appreciate you coming and being able to answer that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Councillor Steves? Hello, Councillor Steves? No. No, there's obviously something wrong there. All right, that's unfortunate. Are there any other questions for staff? Councillor Day.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Chair. So on the southern section is a bisected area. It's like a triangle that's on the other side of the street. And it says on page PLN 70 that that area is for private outdoor space. And if you look at the map on 101, you can clearly see it's completely separate from this complex. So how could it be for private outdoor space? Is there going to be a fence around it and you have to have a door key to get in there? Or is it possible to make that a public outdoor space? Staff or?
We can't hear you. Can't hear you. No.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you. It's very, very low.
For a doll.
Who?
Can't hear you.
Hang on just a sec. We can't hear you in council chambers. Just hang on. So we can't hear Mr. Craig. sounded like they were able to hear him. People who were at home were able to hear him, but we're not.
I have to go back into the
Hang on just a sec.
The number you have reached is not in service. This is a recording.
Oh, my goodness. It's a full moon, you know.
Welcome to TELUS Cloud Conference. Enter your CI.
Yes, I love technology.
Okay, can you try that again, Mr. Craig?
Yes, Madam Chair, are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we are.
And
Yes.
I'm seeing positive signs, so I'll attempt to address the question from Councillor Day. Councillor Day, in terms of the space on the south side of the McKim extension, the McKim extension bisects the site, as you're aware. The space would be designed as a community garden for use of the residents within this strata corporation that would be created. The design of that amenity space would be further detailed through the development permit for the project should the rezoning proceed. We did look and have discussions with the applicant and the Parks Department as to whether a public open space made sense at that location. There was no desire from the Parks Department to create a public open space, and for security reasons, having a private strata manage public community gardens is a difficult proposition, which is why it is proposed as private garden space for the residents of the strata.
So just to be clear, there'd be some kind of key lock system so that only the residents that have access to it will have access to it.
Through the, yes, that would be detailed through the development permit.
All right, thank you very much.
Do we know what's happened to Councillor Steves? Okay, we're going to try one more time. But I think part of his question was for development on the north side of Cambie. In the future, could they be tied into district energy? But we'll try.
You have reached mailbox number 604.
Through the chair, I could try and answer the question that you referred to me in terms of the district energy utility service area. The service area for the Alexander District Energy Utility currently, the northern extent, is Cambie Road. The utility was sized to accommodate development within this quarter section alone. Any further expansion would require some form of referral to the Lulu Island Energy Company in order to address whether there is sufficient capacity to expand the system beyond the current service area boundary.
All right. Are there any other questions for staff?
Move the recommendation.
Anybody in the audience want to speak to the committee? No, I think they're all applicants. Okay, the recommendation was moved. Is there a seconder?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. Thank you. Item number 4, application by Choice School for Gifted Children Society for an agricultural land reserve non-farm use at 20451 Westminster Highway. Mr.
Aye.
Craig and Mr. D'Souza?
I was just telling you guys I'm on.
Oh. I'm sorry, we have to move along, Councillor Steves. We're on to item 4 now.
That's fine. That's the one I want to talk about.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. D'Souza.
Through the chair, just a couple highlights on the report. The purpose of the non-farm use application is to allow the existing education uses to continue and to construct a new classroom building in support of the existing school operation. The property is zoned assembly and currently contains an existing school building and gymnasium building. Existing development and the proposal for a new classroom building is consistent with the existing zoning. The property is also located in the ALR, and ALC staff have confirmed the proposal requires ALC approval in order to proceed. As part of the non-farm use application, the applicant has worked with staff to provide a farm plan on the adjacent property also owned by the school. The city's Food Security and Agricultural Advisory Committee reviewed and supported the proposal. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you.
Councillor Steves, go first. Well, we got him.
Councillor Steves, I will let you go.
I've got a real problem with this, and it may require some in-camera discussion or a referral. I was involved with this way back when, and we zoned this in the ag zone long ago for a church. At that time, a church assembly did not, a school was not a legal use. And the church converted to a school and shut the church down, which was not legal, but you can't really go and accuse the church of breaking the rules, so we didn't. This particular church is now the basis of a court case by Pythagoras on Number 5 Road against the city. And I think we have a bit of a problem here if we approve it the way it is. I think there's a way around it, either referring it back and looking at it later, or to omit the words that it be endorsed and just say that it be forwarded to the Agricultural Land Commission. But I'm a bit leery of saying that we endorse it simply because it may influence any court decision if there's a court case on Number 5 Road. Going over page 126 in the staff report, it very well outlines the dates that these things happened, and how that it was converted to what we now call religious assembly. It was a permitted use as long as it was with a church. A religious assembly without a church was not permitted, and this was the only one that ever happened at that time, and simply because they shut the church down. And of course, that's what's got us in all this trouble. So I think that the Land Commission we could approve it as a non-conforming use, or the Land Commission could approve it as a non-conforming use, but we should not be in a position where we're approving assembly schools of any kind, whether it's assembly or non-assembly, separate from a church in the agricultural zone. So I think we need a legal opinion on that.
Right, we'll come back to you on that. Councillor McNulty.
Yeah, thank you. A question to staff. Given the footprint now and the size, and we're going to add a couple of classrooms, how much actual space are they taking, and is it adjacent to the building? Is it out into the field? Is it taking the agricultural land, or what is it? We don't have the difference in the two sizes here. We just have one size and the other. How much land actually are they taking for two classrooms? Classrooms, what, are 60 by 40? Are they two times that, or?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, the footprint of the proposed new classroom building is approximately 1,400 square feet and located directly in front of the existing school building.
And that's plus 1,400?
That's correct.
From okay, and then I'm more concerned about the configuration. How far out, if you wish, to the north would that go? I think it's the north, yes, the north. How far will it project out into the north? And will there be sidewalks around it, et cetera, at the back, et cetera, and it becomes more than 1,400?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, the classroom building is directly south of the existing school building and occupies existing space that's currently utilized by the school operation.
And what is it currently used as? I'm just trying to see if we are actually utilizing more agricultural land, or are we being more efficient on this piece of property?
Through the chair to Councillor McNulty, the proposed building would be located immediately in front of the existing school, outside of the existing surface parking lot that serves the school. There is a drawing on in the plan package. It is PLN
131?
134. The proposed additional is outlined in red.
Right, but I can. Okay, all right. I also have some concerns about endorsement versus forwarding to it with the ALC, given the situation that the city is in. I have to echo what Councillor Steve says. I think if we do it, and with no disrespect to the people, I'm pro-education and for those kinds of things, but I also think we have to protect the interests of the city, and I would agree that we remove the words endorse, and we forward it to the Land Commission on the basis of the proposal that's here. It's not taking anything away from the proposal, because they're going to judge it on its merit, no matter what we say. They make the final decision. It's not our decision to make whether we vote, but the fact is we would forward it.
Yes,
I agree with Councillor Steves.
That is correct, Councillor McNulty. We have done on occasion remove the words endorsed.
Okay, we've done that? Okay.
Yes, we have.
All right.
Are there any other questions from committee? Councillor Day.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. You know, when I read something like on page PL 128 where it says we need to change the zoning to legitimize the existing use, that puts the hair up in the back of my neck. Like, why would we have allowed this if it wasn't legitimate in 1992? So from what I understand is the building was built as a church in 1981, that's on page 126, and then later in 1992 it was built as a school. Did they get approval from the ALC for the school at that time?
Through the chair to Councillor Day, no. That is why the non-farm lease application would legitimize the existing school and allow for the expansion.
Okay, so to answer me this then, if we if we don't endorse it, we just send it forward to the ALC with no recommendation, and the ALC decides to say, yeah, that's okay, we know that didn't get approved in 92, but it's okay in 2020. Does that in any way affect our ability to restrict the other school that asked to be kind of the same situation on Number 5 Road and the Highway to Heaven, where they did not have a church, and we said no. The rule is if you don't have a church associated with the school, you can't build this campus. If the ALC approves
That would
this,
probably be a legal opinion.
Okay.
And we would have to go into a closed meeting for that.
I think we either have to do that or refer this back.
Councillor McNulty?
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I think we need a legal opinion where we can't divulge any more than we have at the moment. I would move that we table this until the next planning committee meeting, and we seek an opinion from our solicitors, and also have our solicitors consult the ALC, given the illegitimacy of what happened before, because all we're doing is creating one problem over the other for us. And there's no way we can legitimize something that a council did back in 1992. We don't know any of the circumstances, et cetera, at the time. So I'm using the word table because then it doesn't have to sit for months as a referral. It would be brought back once we have our information that we need. And
Is there a seconder for that?
I'll second
that.
So it's been moved and seconded. I believe when you table, there's no discussion. I will call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It is carried. While we did have a closed session after this meeting, I was made aware that there is no lawyer available to us.
Well, I figured that.
So I think this is the appropriate move. So
We're okay.
Manager's report. I think there were a couple of items.
Madam Chair, can
Understand
you
what
hear
we
me?
did? Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
Mr. Ursig?
We're okay.
Yes. I thought I'd just give you a bit of a preview for some major planning referrals and projects that we're working on that will be coming back to committee in the next 2 to 3 months.
Tony?
We actually are in the process of bringing back
My expectation is with the work that was done.
Somebody has, can everybody please mute? I can't hear Mr. Ursig.
That might be Wayne. There we go. Okay, so in the next 2 to 3 months, we will be bringing back some fairly significant bodies of work. The industrial intensification study, which was is being led by our Economic Development Office, will be brought back quite likely through GP in December. but as part of that study, there will be a comprehensive suite of policy changes to the official community plan and also to the zoning bylaw in order to provide for more intensive industrial development on industrial lots. Also in December, through General Purposes Committee, we are planning to bring back a staff report on a recommendation to do a comprehensive review of the Railway Avenue land use corridor. So we will be looking at both the existing arterial road policy and any changes that might be appropriate to that. And we were also asked to look at some scenarios that will involve transit, rapid transit in that corridor. So we will be bringing that back. Also in December, we have taken a look at the Steveston Heritage Grant Program, and we'll be bringing forward some adjustments to that grant program to where the city provides funding for the upgrade of buildings. In the new year, in January and February, we're also planning to bring back a referral on passive house design criteria. I know that that's been discussed a number of times. Staff have been working on the Farming First strategy, and you will be seeing that, at least the first draft of that in the first quarter. There's been quite a bit of discussion in various meetings regarding our official community plan review. While the 10-year horizon, the 10-year window for review of the plan is up in 2022. So while we're not, at this point as a staff, recommending that we initiate a review at this point in time, we will be bringing forward a terms of reference for a housing study, which would wrap up some of the various referrals on affordable housing that we've received. And that could be a body of work that would be completed ahead of the official launch of an official community plan review, probably around 2022. And then we also have the last item that you'll be seeing in the next couple of months is we have a referral to take a look and make some revisions to the tree bylaw. So we are planning to bring that to you as well.
Great, thank you. There's been a great body of work being looked at. And I believe Suzanne has an update for us. Suzanne Smith?
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, I do have a quick update. I'm here to provide a quick update on City Snapshot, the city's online open house, where community members can learn more about city policies and projects related to growth and development in the city. The content is mostly focused on planning and development, affordable housing, transportation, and sustainability. Now, as you may be aware, these sessions were originally in-person community information sessions in 2019. They have been adapted to an online format due to the pandemic. City Snapshots is hosted on the Let's Talk Richmond platform, which enables participants to view information, but also comment and ask questions and receive a response from staff. We have received over 350 visitors to the page and a number of questions as well to date. The current session is in its third and final week, running from November 16th through December 6th, which is Sunday. A summary of the input will be provided to Council early in the new year. And I would just like to note that this online open house has involved a coordinated effort across departments, including policy planning, development, transportation, affordable housing, sustainability, and communications. Thank you.
I just wanted to say I had a look at it, and really congratulations. It's amazing. The amount of information, and what I found was very easy to read, like, thinking of just, we're used to all the planning language, but, for just your everyday person, I think it was very easy to read and some great information, and I hope that lots of people have a look. Thank you, Suzanne. Any questions of staff? All right.
Move adjournment.
See none, we are adjourned now, and we'll just need a couple of minutes to go.